Hi, Thomas Brinsko, publisher of Bic Magazine and bicmagazine.com. In one of my recent blogs, we discussed the world's ever-climbing demand for energy and how the demand growth was increasing more and more quickly. Look at this graph again and how fast power use is growing in the world. It seems like people in second world countries really want first world amenities, and people in third world countries want to grow their economy as well. And that's why the global demand for energy is rising so quickly. Environmental activists wish to replace hydrocarbon energy with low carbon energy, and I made the point last week that it's not going to happen in our lifetime or probably in our children's lifetime. One area where the United States has made significant progress, however, in reducing CO2 is by intentionally killing the coal industry. This has mostly been done by replacing coal-fired plants with natural gas power plants. Natural gas plants still make CO2, of course, but much less than coal plants. And since 2015, the U.S. has decreased its coal-fired power capacity by about 80 gigawatts. And considering our total coal capacity is about 200 gigawatts, that's a pretty good dent in coal usage in the United States. But the unspoken truth about the climate change agenda is this. Anything the U.S. does to reduce emissions and use of hydrocarbons won't matter much because of what the rest of the world is doing. While Biden is doing all he can to restrict U.S. fossil fuels, no matter the economic harm, China is charging ahead with coal imports, coal mining, and coal power plants, trying to become the world's leading economy. You see, unlike the United States, which has abundant quantities of both coal and gas, China has much more coal and gas, so that's the direction they're going to go. The nonprofit Global Energy Monitor reports that China had 174 new coal mines and coal mine expansions proposed and under construction. Global Energy Monitor also tracks coal-fired power plants and estimates that China had 258 coal power stations proposed or under construction. And if completed, they would generate 290 megawatts of energy. President Xi Jinping said in his state-owned paper this past month, quote, "We can't toss away what's feeding us now with what will feed us, while what will feed us next is still not in our pocket." So, if the United States gets rid of 100% of its coal-fired power plants, it's going to be more than replaced by the new Chinese coal-fired plants underway today. Meanwhile, in India, which is the world's third biggest emitter of greenhouse gases, their leadership has announced it may boost its coal power fleet by 25% by 2030. Its power minister said this month that they will add nearly 56 gigawatts of coal power capacity unless there's a substantial drop in the cost of storing electricity. He said, quote, "My bottom line is I will not compromise with my growth." India, like China, is planning major investments in renewable energy, but they're prioritizing providing electric power cheaply to spur economic growth. These nations are making reliable, affordable electricity its top priority. Meanwhile, in Europe, where governments have been aggressively shutting down their coal plants and their nuclear plants, energy prices are at decades-long highs. The shortage of gas in Europe has already prompted talk of energy rationing, and for the most energy-intensive sectors, costs have risen so high they're no longer profitable. Over half of some of Europe's biggest steel and chemical plants have been taken offline, and there's no clear idea about when they can start up again. Europe's Fertilizer Industry Association says that 70% of the continent's fertilizer production has either been shut down or slowed due to high gas prices. It's crazy. Europe is a good example of countries succumbing to climate change alarmists to their own detriment. So what they get is the energy crisis currently being experienced, which is about to get really severe as winter approaches. Interesting sidebar. European governments began subsidizing wood energy more than a decade ago as a way to encourage power plants and homeowners to move away from oil and gas. A booming market for wood pellets was created to the point now where wood is Europe's largest renewable energy source. In America, loggers are literally cutting down and stacking mature trees onto trailers using gas-powered equipment which are hauled by diesel-powered trucks to go to wood pellet factories, which use a lot of energy to process those logs into wood pellets, which are then transported by gas-powered trucks to ports where they're loaded onto diesel ships, natural gas ships being sent across the ocean to Europe, where the burning of the pellets creates even more CO2. Seems insane, right? And remember, if those trees were alive, they would be consuming CO2. I like to say that trees eat CO2, something even environmentalists would agree is a good thing. I don't want America to go down the path of Europe with its failed energy policy. Mankind has always adapted to challenges. We do need to be responsible, yes, but we need an all-of-the-above approach toward energy. Mr. Biden should correct his course by ending his war on fossil fuels and adopting an all-of-the-above approach that supports fossil fuels, but also pursuing energy sources with low carbon emissions. If you're not following me on LinkedIn already, please go to bicmagazine.com and like us there, and we look forward to seeing you again next week.